Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Tui.
And we are a pair of rankers. Let's get to the rankage, motherfuckers. Rankity rank.
I actually ranked before I got here, so I'm not sure how much ranking I can do.
Oh, man. I've always got time for extra rankage. You know what I mean? Just every now and again.
Just give me 5 minutes, Vin. Give me 5 minutes and I'll be able to rank.
Give you a type 5 of rankage. You know what I mean?
5.
Rankitude. That's what we do over here. Some solid rankitudage. That's what we do. We're a couple of rankers. Sometimes we rank together, separately, whatever. It's what we do. We're not going to make a big deal about it. We're not going to keep saying this every episode. We probably will. But
no.
So Noel, as we said, we're a pair of rankers. We're here to rank each other off or rank yourselves off. But what we're going to rank to today is our favorite one-liners from the history of motherfucking cinema. That's what we're going to get our ranks off on today. That's what we're going to do. So Noel, this can be anything, I hope. As long as it's memorable, as long as it had lots of one-liners, this is what we're going to do. We're going to, anybody's listening to Pair Rankers episode, top 5, honorable mention. We're going to get the fuck out of here because we like to rank hard, rank fast, and then rank ourselves off in the comfort of our own homes. Noel, talk to me. What's number 5, brother?
My number 5 is quite simply from the film Warriors.
Warriors.
Remember come out to play. Well, now you've just jumped to the end. And that is the line that I would draw attention to. But I love the DJ, man. Be looking good, Warriors. Hey, boppers, you know. Cyrus, can you dig it? Oh, my God, it was the most quotable film. But the fact that was an ad-lib line where he was just clinking the bottles together and he started going, Warriors, come out to play. And you were just thinking, this is phenomenal content. Yeah. It was just great. Yep. And it was one of these things where I think
so good.
It had to be explained. You know, sometimes you have somebody, you see a film and there's a line and then somebody else says it, and then you realize it's become a thing. This to me, I remember being a kid and seeing this film and thinking that's a great, like this is such a memorable moment. It's got so much drama and so much attached to it.
Yeah.
That was definitely the line of that film that stood out to me, and it was literally Warriors come out to play. I love the DJ. Yeah. I loved a lot of quotes, but that was the one that stood out for me. What do you think of that, man? And then tell me your number 5.
Man, fucking Warriors. The first time I seen this movie, right? It was rated 18 or some shit. I was like 16, 17 years old. And I was like expecting this to be a severe movie, and and I laughed the entire time. Like, I mean, like one of the movies I always call back to when I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy Part 1, I laughed my face off so much that my jaws were killing me at the end of the movie. Not because I was blowing the dude next to me, separate story, separate event, whatever. A little bit of history, a little bit of self-discovery, whatever. But like this movie, I laughed my fucking ass off, and it was like when he started clinking the bottles together, the Warriors come out to play. Like, man. But I literally listened back to our episode we did on MDK Presents with Brendan Sakai, and we were talking about this movie as well.
Shout out to Brendan Sakai.
Sakai, man, check him out. Fucking awesome comedian. Check out Comedy Sucks. But like, it's so memorable. Like, there's so many things about this movie. It's so camp. It tried to be more edgy, but it still kind of maintained that kind of level of West Side Storyness to it, where it's like, oh, the sharks are going to come and get us. Oh no, let's wrestle and ramble, you know, that kind of things. Like,
yeah.
I had that real corniness left over from that kind of pantomime to it, but at the same time, it was trying to encapsulate like New York in the 70s or 80s, never was made. Like, so, like it's just ridiculously fun movie. The Warriors, so much fucking fun.
Thank you. I absolutely agree with you. What was your number 5? Hit me with it.
Do you want to know what my number 5 is?
I do indeed.
Do you really want to know?
I think I really want to know.
Like, do you really want to know what number 5?
I don't even know if I'm comfortable admitting how much I want to know.
Yeah,
you know,
like
people might view me differently.
If I tell you, so you're saying to me, you want to know what number 5 is. That's it. You want to know what my number 5 is. No bullshit, no lies. You want the truth.
That's wow.
Do you want the truth?
I think I'm entitled.
You want the truth?
I think I'm entitled.
You can't handle the truth.
So what film was it?
You need us on that wall, eating our breakfast 250 yards away from the enemy every day. You need us on that wall.
I never even thought of it. and it's such a like phenomenal line.
Yeah.
And also, it was kind of ad-libbed as well, I believe. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But they was just and you know, Tom Cruise doesn't like a lot of people kind of scoff at Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has put in some absolutely stellar performances in his career. He really, really has.
Yeah.
And he's done the action, he's done the corny thing, and all that. He's made bad movies and all that. He's Tom Cruise. He's been around for 40
he's a
years.
legend.
He's a legend. But he was phenomenal in that film. But Jack Nicholson, of course, just absolutely stealing the show like Jack Nicholson is one to do.
Yeah.
I don't have to tell you that I think that's a great choice. It just simply is. This one, sometimes, so for some of our pair rankers, I do a little bit of homework. Like, what's a good answer? But for this one, I said it had to be something that came to me naturally.
Yeah.
If I did homework on it, I think that I'm doing the opposite of due diligence. What comes to you when I say great one-liners?
This is your number 4.
No, I'm just agreeing with you. I said this one escaping me is just surprising because it's so epically iconic. And it was not just the line, because any like a decent actor saying you can't handle the truth at that moment. Yeah. You need us on that wall, all of that jazz. And a decent actor doing it, it's great. But Jack Nicholson doing it,
iconic.
Yeah, iconic.
It's such a good fucking movie.
Such a good movie. Yeah, such a good. And they don't make them like that anymore. I don't think it would.
So me, you, and Don just spoke about MDK Presents as well. Our last episode, MDK Presents, we spoke about that in the 90s. Those really high-level thrillers, high-level dramas that were the backbone of cinema in the 90s. They just don't make them anymore. They just, and if they do, they're on streaming services, and thank fuck for streaming services because we still get to see that kind of content. But,
exactly.
But you know what I mean? Like Courage Under Fire, these fucking movies that like really, really meaty roles, like, and not even so much Oscar bait, just really good films that happen to get nominated for Oscars.
Good films. Yeah, you forget just actual good films. Yeah. But even films that would have been kind of scoffed at. Do you ever actually sit down and watch G.I. Jane?
Yeah,
it's a spectacular movie that talks about just like sexism in the army and stuff like that. And it wasn't even trying to be this like socially conscious, socially aware thing. Yeah. It was really dark. It was heavy. It just had a gravity to it. It was an absolutely phenomenal film. That was an excellent choice, man. For number 4, I'm going with another ad-lib line. It's a little bit more goofy. It's a little bit more silly, but I think it's an extremely quotable film, and I think it's an extremely great film. And you know what? I mean, it's just game over, man.
You talk about aliens.
Game over, man. Game over.
Game over, man.
Just
McKnight, mostly.
Just Bill Paxton, rest in power. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal movie. The guy was killed by a Terminator, killed by a Predator, killed by a Xenomorph.
Yeah.
He's got the trifecta, and we lost him way too early. But that line where he's just the desperation of the goofy soldier melting down, but in a goofy way. Yeah, like they're mostly come at night, mostly. Can I sleep, Ripley? I think we both can. Get away from her, you bitch. Yeah. It's got its quotes, but game over, man. Just in the middle of it, like we're fucked, we're done, we're toast. It was delivered so spectacularly in this film. What do you think of that?
Yeah, man, fucking aliens. You can't do wrong with aliens. Like, you know what I mean? It's like one, like, you know what I mean? Like,
you could try.
Yeah, it's up there as one of the most quotable movies of fucking all time. Like, you know what I mean? It's like not only is the film itself memorable, but like there's so many fucking quotable lines in that movie. Like that's stuff you say like once or twice a week, maybe, or once or twice a month.
Oh God,
you'll find yourself quoting aliens like forever.
Oh God, yeah.
It's just one of those movies. But yeah, no, 100%. I definitely agree with aliens. Has to be on the list. 100%.
I'm still trying to say a sentence where I say like I mostly do something and then not say mostly again. I don't know. I have yet to pass that test. Yeah. All right, hit me with your number 4, man.
Hit me with your best shot. My number 4 is another Tom Cruise movie. And that is Jerry motherfucking Show Me the Money Maguire.
That's it. I can't hear you. Show me the money. Yeah. And what people forget with that one is that it's not the show me the money, it's the show me the money.
Yeah.
Show me the money. Yeah. It's the show me the money. Yeah. And it's just him just going, show me the money. Oh.
He says, show me the money. And like there's even the isn't it the you complete me lines in that as well, like you know what I mean, like you know
It's a very quotable film.
yeah
And again, it's another absolutely stellar performance by Tom Cruise, even if
yeah
it's not a film that he stole the
yeah
limelight in, because he's often in great films with you know, Kirsten Dunst, or he's in there with.
it was Renee Zellweger and fucking Cuba Gooding Jr. and that as well. Like Cuba Gooding Jr. I think got nominated. Did he win the Oscar for that movie? Like you know what I mean? Like it's that's one thing. Like the pity about Tom Cruise is he doesn't make enough of these kind of movies anymore. Like you know what I mean? Something you just touched on earlier on. He's kind of gone more action, and in the same way that like action movies have kind of become the backbone of cinema in a lot of ways. Like, and he used to do drama, which was kind of like the backbone of cinema. Now he's kind of like just kind of veered towards you know the Mission Impossibles, the Edge of Tomorrow, Oblivion. You know these kind of movies where
The
it's more
movies, but
high
yeah,
concept, a lot of action, very little character development in a lot of them. But like,
that's also the truth. Yeah,
yeah, like you know, you look at his back catalogue and you see like A Few Good Men, Jerry Maguire, like fucking Collateral, movies like this. It's a real shame that he doesn't really flex those acting chops as much as he used to, because in his prime, he's as good as anybody.
yeah, I do, and I just think it's a really, really good movie. I think, you know, and I think sometimes you could have a great quote on a terrible movie, but this was a really good movie, and I think people want it to be so high concept now, and that's what it's a business, and that's what
Yeah,
makes bank. But this was just about a sports agent,
yeah.
you
On
know.
his look kind of guy, you can like the two guys that are completely down the look, two guys that are completely underestimated and underappreciated and undervalued, and he meets someone that he underappreciates and undervalues as well, in Renee Zellweger. So it's all about like all these people. It's about trying to find your self worth or some shit, I think. After all, wrapped up in all that, you got some of the most quotable, funniest fucking moments.
It's a good
Like you know
movie,
what I
man.
mean.
Uh,
Go ahead, Noel, motherfucker. What's your
okay,
number
I'm
three?
just gonna hit you with it within a
Hit you
non-setting it
with
up
my
kind of
best
way.
shot.
I don't even know the song, and you got me
I'm
singing it.
flying away.
I all grew up on this line: "If it bleeds, we can kill it." God, I love that line. I
Oh, Alien
just
3, I
remember
see.
with just that little drop of blood that's
Yeah,
on the leaf after they
yeah,
absolutely unload enough bullets to cut down a jungle, and they
yeah,
nick it, and they kind of go, "If it bleeds, we
yeah,
can kill it." And at this point, they're so unaware of what the predator is, that they can't even conceive if it's human or a god or a
yeah,
creature made out of one of the elements. They just can't conceive what it is, but it bleeds.
yeah.
And
It's,
bleeding, enough bleeding leads to one thing, and
oh
that's
man,
a
that
fundamental truth in nature. And that I always thought that line was actually delivered excellently by Schwarzenegger, in a role he actually acted spectacularly in, and I always loved it. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's
yeah,
definitely just on Hurt's case.
yeah,
It's got like there's some Billy, you ain't afraid of no man. There's something out here hunting this poncho or whatever it was, and it ain't no man. It's
yeah.
got great lines.
Something out there
Get to the
waiting for
chopper.
us, and
There's
no
someone they're
man.
waiting for. Ain't no man. Get to the chopper, of course, being the one that people go to because it's kind
Yeah,
of funny, and he says it in his
one of my
Austrian
favorite
accent.
one of my favorite lines is when Dylan goes, Dutch, we gotta get out of here, we gotta go get to the helicopter. And he goes, Dylan, if we don't make a stand, there's gonna be nobody alive to make it to the helicopter.
Yeah, yeah,
And the
yeah,
look on Carl Weathers' face, he's like, oh fuck, he's panicking. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's because like he probably never seen fear from Dutch ever. Like, you know what I mean? That like the man, even just thinking about that movie is giving me goosebumps. Just like it
Oh,
sets
it's
up,
just
everybody just gets so lost in the fact, oh, it's action movie with guys with muscle. It's one of the best suspense science fiction thrillers of all time.
if not the best.
Yeah,
That's how
well,
good it was.
Alien Part One's probably the best.
Alien Part One probably just
Yeah,
has
yeah,
yeah,
sheer
because it's
class.
got space. It's
Yeah,
got space. It's got that
yeah,
claustrophobia that's
yeah.
allowed. The jungle was so open, but phenomenal movie. I
But the
stand
best
by
thing
my
about
choice
Predator
completely.
though, the jungle was so open, but the Predator made it feel so small.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, you know what I
as
mean?
it's hunting you. So like
Yeah,
wherever it is you go, you are
kill
leaving
box.
trails. Oh, kill box, excellently
Yeah,
thought.
that's what
All
wolves
right,
do. Um,
give me your number three.
My number three is something like I don't know, like how would you say it? I don't know, like my number three, I could say probably the best way to kind of equate it with something else would say my number three is a lot like a box of chocolates.
In a million years, I wouldn't have thought of it, even though it is one of the most iconic lines of cinema. Because you always kind of go that they're like all of our quotes have been a bit bombastic up to now.
Yeah.
You know, Warriors come out and play. It's before the last big final showdown, game over, man. They're stranded on an alien planet. They're completely surrounded by xenomorphs. You can't handle the truth. And it's like, you know, corruption in the US military.
Yeah.
So they're big concepts, big moments, dramatic turns. But the one you've just thrown at me is a guy sitting on a bench and offering a woman a chocolate.
Yeah.
And it said, my mama always said, like, and it's him, and he tells this story in one of the greatest stories ever told, one of the greatest films ever made.
Yeah.
But it's a break from what we've been doing so far, because I think it's very gentle.
Yeah.
My mama always said life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. And that just sets them off. And just that, and I honestly, God, think it's just because that film is so iconic itself.
Yeah.
That the sentence that gets that film started is also iconic.
Yeah, exactly. I love the way he's actually eating the chocolates that he's bringing to Jenny.
Yeah. But I'm going to say something here. Fuck Jenny.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely.
You know, kind of like, you know, like when I needed you weren't there, but now that you're like, you know, now that you're dying and I'm a billionaire, you seem
I bet you that kid's name was Randy 2 weeks before that. It's like his name's Forrest, just like his papa. It's like, and Randy's like, "Who's Forrest? Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up, Randy."
No, Randy, it's the shrimp billionaire. Just shut the fuck up. The shrimp billionaire.
Oh, fucking hell, man. He's so man, that movie's so fucking good. Like, and I watched it about a year ago, and I think they did the fucking the movies that made us documentary about it too. Netflix did. It's such a good fucking episode. But like, you know, like everything about that movie is fucking iconic, and it's another pure showcase of 1990s drama and the kind of the uniqueness that decade had for telling different stories and kind of encapsulating different kind of themes and shit like that. And Forrest Gump is a movie that sings completely of the 90s, even though it's set much earlier. But a movie like that doesn't get made today. Like, more, you know what I mean? Like, it's just
actually, I've been looking forward to this podcast all day, and it's just bumming me out.
Why? Because you're thinking about all the movies that will never be made again.
Yeah, actually, like that's exactly what I'm thinking about. It just is. Well, they're going to try, but it's not.
The tentpole drama's gone.
If I'm talking to, let's just say, a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, just somebody who's coming of age and getting into films now, and I pitch to them, just to them, forget like pitching it to a corporation, pitched it to them. Forrest Gump. I don't know how much it would listen. I hate when people talk down to the generation, because frankly, in so many ways they have it so much fucking harder. So I hate when people talk down to them. But at the same, I just think what actually entertains in the box office. That's all I'm talking about. Yeah. I think I find it a hard pitch. I think they've grown up so spoiled by the spectacular, like by the overtly spectacular visually, that like I can't like have a kid walking out of Endgame and say, right, so it's a story is about, and this, thank you so much, baby. And I don't know how I could pitch it, and it makes me sad because, and I think I'm just as bad, because even though I'm older, I've still kind of become spoiled like everybody else has. And Forrest Gump was,
dude, think about the movies we grew up watching. Like Forrest Gump, like came out when I was still a kid. Like,
Stand By Me.
You know, Stand By Me, Declined. You know what I mean? Like stuff like fucking Rainmaker when you're in your teenage. Like all these, like when I grew up, like my steady diet of movies was comedies and dramas and thrillers. And then like as I got a little bit older, horror. You know what I mean? Like it's just like that one. I just think like kids growing up now, and I love the MCU and I love all the superhero movies, but like as you say, when you ask a kid, like you try to pitch it to a kid, on the other hand, if you even say to that kid, what movies have you seen in the past 2 years?
That's it.
You go back to a 12-year-old.
There's your answer.
You go back to a 12-year-old and we were, what movies you seen the last 2 years? We would be talking about The Client, Stand By Me, My Girl. You know what I mean?
My cousin Vinny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really high level, intelligent movies that were what we touched upon earlier were the backbone of cinema in the 90s. And it's unfortunate that you don't really see those 10-pole dramas anymore because
and it's also not their fault.
Yeah,
whatever this trend has, it happened.
There's no market for it.
There's no market for it, and that's not like you like we were a part of that market before they were.
Yeah.
So like when I say it, I do just say like a timestamp of me trying to pitch Forrest Gump in 2022. That's all. That's all. It's a hard pitch.
It's like look at the Power of the Dog we talked about Don as well. Again on the last episode, MDK Presents. It's a sub-$1 million movie that's more than likely going to win the best movie picture this year's Oscars.
Yeah, not Tom Elliott has anything to say about whatever the fucker's name is.
But you know what I mean. So like it just shows you that like that there is a trend and it's gone kind of one way. And I hope there's the people that grew up with me like watching like Leon, stuff like that when you're like 14, 15 years old. And it really gives you an idea of how movies can be made, not just on a budget, but a very insular story that like has all these ramifications and all these clever little things that encapsulates the story. Like, you know what I mean? Like when I do deep dives and I'm doing research, you know, I don't look at a lot of modern stuff. I'm going back into the past because I think that's where a lot of that deep dive went on, these character developments, these real character driven stories. And I think we got very lucky. We grew up with probably in the peak of dramas between 80s and 90s. And I know everybody sings about horrors from the 80s, but when you look from the 70s to the 90s, there's your golden age drama and there's your golden age of thrillers. You know what I mean? So like we just got lucky, I think, and I hope kids nowadays, even though I fucking adore superhero movies, but I hope they go back in past like the way we did when we were in the 90s and we went back in the 70s and start working our way to our modern movies. I hope they start doing that and going back into the 90s and start working their way back up to modern times so they're not missing out in this fucking wealth of dramatic fucking genius and thrillers and all these suspense movies that all exist in the 90s that are so memorable that our generation quote like motherfuckers. But that's my backstory. What's your number? Wait, there's my go. No, it's your go, isn't it?
My go. It's my go.
Your number 3? No, you already gave me your number 3, didn't you? I didn't give you my number
I gave you my number 3. God, could you stop interrupting me? Because I'm walking here.
This fucking guy.
This was an ad-lib line by Dustin Hoffman in Midnight Cowboys in '69. And instead of breaking his stride or losing his line because he was in the zone, he kind of just like told the dude to fuck off in a way where it's just kind of like, I'm doing a thing.
Yeah.
Fuck off. You know? And he carried on because he's a goddamn pro and one of the best to ever enter the game.
Oh, 100%.
He is a phenomenal actor. And we talk about our De Niro's because we should. We talk about our Pacinos or Streeps because we should. But I do think that sometimes his name does get mentioned. I'm not going to say he doesn't get props. Oh, yeah. Of course he does. Yeah, he gets loads of props, but maybe not enough.
Yeah.
And it's just such a phenomenal line. And it got kind of ripped off a lot, I'm not going to get into that right now for a particular reason, but I always thought that this line was just it's the first example I remember ever been introduced to me as a kid by an older cousin. And he was saying that this guy ad-libbed the line instead of losing his place. And I was like, ad-lib? I didn't know what ad-lib meant.
Yeah.
It was a word I never heard. And he's going, it's just, like sometimes the line might be like, oh, and now I'm going to do this. And you might just say, and now I say it using different words that mean the same thing. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Or you might get a little bit lost, or you might pour yourself take a drink and go, wow, that's delicious. And then carry on with your line. That's ad-libbing. That's having a bit of fun with. And I was like, that's really cool. That's really cool. But this was it done, I think, the first time I had an example of it being done iconically. So it's stuck with me.
Yeah.
It's not a film I'm overly familiar with. I've seen maybe twice. And I just think it's
great
a great
movie.
Line.
It doesn't happen with John Voight, Midnight Cowboy. It's not what you're talking about. Like a fucking great movie. But yes, I haven't seen that movie in a long time. Just maybe like I'm being a little bit guilty of it too at the moment, where I'm not getting a chance to go back and watch a lot of these fucking movies that I've only seen once or twice because we're covering so much content over here. Like so, but Midnight Cowboy is a fucking great movie, man. It's all about like male prostitution and shit as well, isn't it? Like so and
it's 1969, and they were talking about that shit. Man.
Yeah, the Summer Love.
Jim Morrison was alive. Hendrix was alive. It's a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, it's like we're always talking about how movies capture a moment in time. Like, Midnight Cowboy really catches that, like that kind of grittiness, that kind of
yeah,
grime, the slow evolution of American culture from the 60s to the 70s, from the hippie culture and onwards. You know what I mean? So the kind of like what it was kind of like the disco scene in the 70s, wasn't it? Like, so that you just see that evolution of the culture, and you can kind of that kind of Midnight Cowboy kind of captures that in that movie, where you can kind of slowly see the change, kind of like Easy Rider as well, that kind of thing as well, where you see the kind of the change in American culture at that time.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it just
Um,
leaves itself there for you.
what was that?
What about you, man?
Was that
You
your
want to
number
hit me?
two?
That was my number two.
Number two. So you want me to hit you with my best shot?
I do. And
Yeah,
let's see what way you word it into conversation.
I'm going to try and word it into conversation.
Go.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, do you want my number two?
Oh, okay. Yes, I want your number two.
You sure you want my number two? Here, I'll give it to you.
I love
Here,
your number two.
I'll hand it to. Here you go. Get away from it, you bitch.
Did you go aliens?
Yeah, I went aliens. I
You
went
went aliens.
Of course, I went aliens.
We touched. This is the first time that we've crossed the streams in this particular, and we do a bit though. Like because of the gayness. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Oh well, anything we're championing it right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Think about it.
But I was thinking that we'd hit the few the same notes, and this is the first time we did. Even though we picked, that just goes to show how iconic the film is.
Yeah,
we both picked two different lines. You probably even picked the more widely accepted, because "Get Away from Her, You Bitch" it was in Vicar of Dibley. Do you remember that? It was a reference in Vicar of Dibley.
I didn't watch that show, man. I have a penis.
Oh right, yeah,
manhood, masculinity, testosterone, words.
It was absolutely iconic. It was huge, and especially because when the Queen is first revealed, it's such like a xenomorph is such an unstoppable thing. Like in a 1-on-1, it's you might as well be up against a storm. It's just, and this is if the storm had a storm.
Yeah.
So this was just this, but when she comes out in I can't think of the loader or whatever you call it. And power loader, and she's just and because it's Newt, because she's formed such a connection with her, and she's just like, straight up ready to throw down, like, fuck you, let's do it. It's so iconic.
That whole relationship she had with Newt was predicated on the fact that her daughter died while she was in stasis, as Jason Isaac says. Stasis. Oh, we got to put you in stasis. Calm down, Jason. Bring it down a bit. I know Sam Neill's over there with no eyes, but you're being a bit much now. Dig it out. Just dig it out. But I think it made no sense to me why they would cut that, because her whole relationship and why she's such a mother, or such motherly instincts towards Newt, is because she missed out on her daughter's life, and they cut that out of the theatrical fucking cut of the movie. Yeah. It's their entire motive for actually giving a fuck about Newt in the first place.
I got to speak to is it Michael Bean, or is it shot by Michael Bean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He came to the Horrorton in Dublin about 10 years ago. Yeah. And I got to talk to him about that, because of course he's got a little bit of salt about the fact that he survived 2 but was dead for 3. Yeah. And he was saying that the film was great, but the film could have been better, because he thought a lot of these storylines that they decided kind of didn't, would have taken up too many minutes, I guess, or whatever. He said the film was great, but could have been better. And I think that was one of the things he alluded to.
The director's cut is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a phenomenal film. Yeah, it's a phenomenal.
Even the Sentry Guns aren't even in the theatrical cut.
But it's I always go back to it. I know this is kind of off topic because we're just talking one-liners, but this film is like, when it was explained to me before I seen it, I was like, oh, you've seen the first one? Well, this one has hundreds of aliens.
This time it's war, man.
But this one had hundreds of aliens that were alluded to.
Yeah.
You had the sentry guns. Remember, you actually see the sentry guns firing and shadows and screams and stuff like that. But you see very few aliens.
It's all done on the fucking radar. Like, it's all
iconic.
You know what I mean? Like, iconic. But that's the best thing about the earlier science fiction horrors, like Predator, Aliens, not science fiction horror, but like a thriller horror, Jaws. they restrain, they show restraint. You hold your creature back till you really need to show it. Like, so,
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? Something we spoke about a long time ago in the ROC, shout out to Beige from the ROC, is that Return to Craig's, is you don't see the predator outside the camouflage until the last 25 minutes of the movie. I always clock these things. You don't see the xenomorph until the first hour of Alien. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's that scene where he jumps out.
Yeah,
and it's just that.
You don't see the shark until he comes out of the water when they're on
because
the
then they'll
orca.
always be seen. We were talking about how in the Quiet Place Part 2 or whatever, that they show up and it's cool and they do everything on a big scope and it's a great film, but at the same time, because we had seen and understood what the world was like with these creatures in it, it's not the film's fault. It simply can't. It's impossible for a sequel to introduce us to a concept if it's just continuing the concept.
Yeah.
And it loses something. So again, people say, like, well, when we do it, we can't undo it.
Yeah.
It needs to count.
Yeah.
And you've clocked 2 films who did that in absolutely expert kind of mode. Absolutely. What a great film. Great choice.
My choices are all amazing and everybody knows that. But that's a moot point. That was always going to happen.
This is okay. You've just created something and you don't even know it.
Yeah.
When we go live, when we're doing all this shit on like all these stream platforms, we're going to have Rank the Rankers. There you go. It's just born. That's right. It's on.
What does that mean? Like some sort of?
It means that our audience is going to have to rank which one of us rank better.
What you want our audience to rank us off? Is what you're saying?
Ranking. That's right.
Like harsh, like DTF ranking.
Oh. Just absolutely.
My DTF is pretty good, man. My DTF is pretty good. My dick to floor ratio is top notch.
Yeah, mine is too. It never gets anywhere near it. Is
that mine's as limp as a biscuit.
Okay, I'm going number 1. And
what's your numero uno? Let's build it up. What is it?
It is the absolute iconic line delivered by the one and only Donald Glover at the end of Lethal Weapon 2. Where he shoots and he claims diplomatic immunity because he's a South African diplomat, and he takes one bullet right to the chrome by none other than our main man, and then he says, "It's just been revoked." And that line is my earliest memory back in the early 90s. It's my earliest memory of just thinking, damn, like, fuck you. It's just like, yeah, technically I'm right. You're actually not allowed to shoot me or even arrest me. And then just boom, right in the middle of the forehead. And I remember just thinking, yes. Yes. And then it's just like, it's just been revoked.
It's just that thing where he cracks his neck, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's always cracking his neck.
His neck. That's what he does always before he's about to fuck him.
Which one was Riggs? He was Riggs.
He was Murtaugh. Roger Murtaugh.
He was Murtaugh.
Mel Gibson played Martin Riggs.
Right.
And Joe Pesci was Leo Getz. Whatever you want, Leo Getz.
Whatever you want.
That was part 3.
God, just drips in iconicness.
Or is he part 2?
But no, he's in part 2 and he's in part 3, but he's not in part 1.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about you, man? What did you think of Lethal Weapon 2?
Man,
any memories of it?
Man, I fucking love the Lethal Weapon movies, man. Like, I'm getting too old for this shit. Like, you know what I mean? That's
I could have gone with it, but I just
that's in all the movies.
To be honest to myself.
Yeah, that's in all.
To be honest with myself, I remember that it's just been revoked. I remember that I was in my cousin's house. Yeah, shout out to the Coolans, and I was sitting there, and my aunt threw on a movie for us, and I remember just that moment going, "It's just been revoked," and I remember getting a literal chill. Yeah, and I was only like single digits. I might have been 9. And I remember getting an actual chill from the absolute badassery of that line. And I just remember going, yeah, that's what like a line delivered at the right time can do. And it's my earliest memory of it. So I had to make it number 1. I did not have a choice.
Yeah, one thing I loved about the Lethal Weapon movies were how human the 2 boys were. You don't really see this enough in action movies nowadays. Like the fight scene at the end of part 1, I think it was, and Mr. Joshua, Gary Busey, and Mel Gibson. Like the 2 boys just beat the fuck out of each other. It does, like, not like when John Wick, for John Wick to incur damage, he has to fight 12 guys. And one of them throws him off a balcony, and he'll land, and he'll go through everything.
Oh yeah,
back up, and he'll kill.
And then he'll find a pencil, and that's the end of like fighting.
I heard he killed the guy with a pencil, man. A fucking pencil.
And then in the second one, I think he kills like
Yeah.
3 people with a pencil, like
Yeah.
pencil. So you're absolutely right. The actual like cost,
believability of it or something.
yeah, but the cost, even if you know how to fight, the cost of winning a fight to the death is killing someone who's also trying to fight to the death and is also not completely incapable.
Yeah.
And that is an ugly and messy thing.
Yeah.
And we see it when we watch UFC or something. We see that like fights still come down to the very basic stuff that we would do, except done at a much higher level by much fairer people.
Yeah, and much more force, greater force,
and much more force, and all of that jazz. No, we get murdered.
Yeah,
but the rules seem to be the same. And I always thought you're absolutely right. It's a great point that Lethal Weapon always had that.
Like, look at part 4 when they fight Jet Li, they get their asses handed to them
multiple times.
Yeah, remember he takes apart the gun.
I always loved that.
What? How did you do that?
And then at the end, he's just like, walk away. There's no shame in walking away. And then he's like, how did he do that, Martha? How did he do that? It's just like, let's go ask him. It is a great line. It's not the best movie. It's a great line. No, but I
100%. Lethal Weapon, 100%. Everything about them, like even as you said, Part 4 is not the best, but like we're still quoting it. It's fucking awesome.
Here we are. Yeah, so they win. They win.
Like they've been trying to replicate that kind of buddy cop type scenario for so long. The TV show tried to do not the same
thing
effect.
Is you can't account for chemistry, and when Gibson and Glover were there, that you can't account for how absolutely spectacular and it was both fireworks and it was also extremely comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? They actually worked on both levels.
Yeah.
Because they're both phenomenal actors and you can't create. All right, hit me with your number 1.
Hit me with your best shot. I don't know, man. I'm not sure. Should you really want this number 1 choice, do you?
No. There.
No, you don't want to. You want to. What's going on?
Work that into the conversation.
You're saying you don't want it. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying I don't want it. No.
You're going soft on me, no? They got you pushing too many pencils over them, DK or something. This fucking guy, I think I can't work it into a conversation. This fucking guy. Of course, my number 1's going to be Predator. I fucking quote it like daily almost. It's ridiculous. Even when I'm on my own, I'm quoting it. It's insane. I fucking love this movie. Like, man, like literally the other day, I just went on Google just so I could look at that scene where Billy goes, there's something out there waiting for us, and it ain't no man. Like, man, when Puncher goes some bullshit, Billy, you ain't afraid of no man. And in that moment, when you realize, like we always talk about, we spoke about in the Predator movie episode, that Billy's the barometer for that entire movie.
Yes.
When literally you monitor Billy's comfortability or comfort levels throughout that scenario, the less and less comfortable he becomes, and the more and more unnerved he becomes, everything goes to shit around him. Because
you're not wrong.
Billy's the one guy that's supposed to never get afraid.
Yeah.
And that line,
but also that line works on another level as well, because obviously when Pancho kind of goes, and you're not afraid of no man, and he's I know that's not the line you reference, but even just the same film, you're saying he doesn't disagree with him. He goes, you're right, I'm not afraid of no man. He doesn't say that. He goes, but there's something hunting, there's something out there, Billy, and it ain't no man.
Yeah.
And there's obviously it harkens to that earlier line where he's just like, it's like they took a stand here, they fired all different directions, but like nobody came in and took them, nobody whatever. It just doesn't make no sense.
Makes no sense, Major. Makes no sense.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
And
but he's absolutely sure that he's not fucked up. He's like, I'm not. It's not that I'm missing something. I promise you, I'm looking, and I know what's supposed to be here, and it's not here. It's
man, when Dutch, like, because Dutch is the alpha, even the Predator.
Oh yeah.
But constantly he goes, Billy, tell me what happened here. Billy, find me this. Billy, as I said, Billy is the go-to guy. He's the guy that's supposed to never waver, Mr. Stoic. And the look on Poncho's face when he goes to Billy, hey, Billy, what's eating at you? And he goes, I'm scared, Poncho. And the look on Poncho's like, and he's literally clenching his teeth. He goes, bullshit, Billy. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, he's like, you ain't afraid, no. And the look on everyone's face and Poncho's face when he drops that famous line, though, is like, there's something out there waiting for us, and I ain't no man. And like, and he just walks. Words goes, we're all gonna die, and he just walks off.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I like the first time I seen that movie, and even now every single time I see that movie, because you appreciate. It's one thing I love about the Predator, like the cheesiness and the steroids and the muscles, all this shit. But the one thing I love about every single time you watch it, you appreciate it more and more and more for
Yes.
actually how good a movie it is.
Yes.
And like you got the line I quoted to you, oh, is it you go on soft CIA got you pushing too many pencils. The line that we said to each other, if it bleeds, we kill it as well. Like, you know, like I don't care who you are in the real world, you give away our position again, I'm gonna cut you.
I'm gonna bleed you real quiet, leave you here. I love this film.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
You're talking to the right audience.
Like,
you're absolutely right. But even like the line you went for is so early in the film. It's before any of the meat.
Yeah,
it just shows you that it just still had it like really early on.
Dude, do you remember when Billy's like looking past the trees and he can kind of see something, but you can't see it? This before they realize the predator's using the trees, and it's the look at Aaron Schwarzenegger's face because you can see that Billy's starting to lose it. That's one thing I loved about it. It's just that it builds so beautifully and it builds so slowly, and it's got all the macho and it's got all the fucking one-liners and all the quotability, but behind it all, it's a group of apex predators that have been put in a situation that they felt that there's nothing in there that can hunt them, and all of a sudden they realize they're not predators, they're fucking prey. And you have men that are the pinnacle of what they do coming to that realization slowly throughout the movie. That the line I said to you earlier, Aaron Schwarzenegger, like if we don't make a stand, no, there's going to be no one left alive to make it to the chopper because they realize, oh shit, we're being hunted now. We're being actually hunted systematically.
Like Dutch was the biggest badass of them all. Obviously, but he only knew how to take on the predator based on how everyone else died.
Yeah, exactly.
There was literal lessons.
Learning
even when he kicks the girl that they'd taken, when he kicks the gun from her hand, it's because he had learned what they're doing. What he's doing is taking out people who are armed and actually represent a threat. In fact, Dutch himself would have probably been gotten away, but he took out his entire team. And if he had not gone back, then that would have been cowardly. Yeah. So that's the only reason he could have got away from it. He knew that this was now a game.
Yeah.
But he actually went back. And I always thought that was the great thing because every death taught you something.
Yeah.
Right up to Poncho was the last one to get taken out. Man, I love this movie. And everyone talks about Terminator 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. Yeah. But if you put me to the sword.
Oh, I'd watch Predator. I watch Predator more often anyway. I watch it more often. It's like 100%. Like the two films, I watched The Thing. I watched Jaws. I watched Halloween. I watched Predator. I was going to say the two movies, but there's 4 movies that I find myself watching at least once a year. Is like Jaws, The Thing, Predator, Halloween. I always watch those movies. I always find time to watch those movies, no matter what new content's out there, no matter what I'm watching, TV series or whatever, movie series, franchise, whatever we're doing. I always will try to break off some time to watch them. I haven't watched The Thing in like a year now because we're holding back for its 40th anniversary. Like stuff like, but like that's what I'm saying. Like stuff like that is where you know it's iconic because you look forward to watching it still. Like I've seen The Thing about 2 dozen times, something ridiculous. I like, you know what I mean? I've watched it sometimes multiple times in a year. Like you know what I mean? It's easy to do that. Like such a good fucking movie. And when something stays with you that much that you're excited, like I'm still excited to watch The Thing when we do it because we're holding off for so long. It's like with the Predator, when I throw that on, as soon as I press play and I see the shot of Earth and they showed me the spacecraft flying towards Earth, I'm fucking giddy as I was the very first time I saw it. Maybe even more so because I know what I'm about to see. And it's just so fucking good. Everything about it for me makes an iconic fucking, not only just science fiction movie, but also a horror, suspense thriller, whatever you want to call it. But like the one-liners, I mean, you were just reaming them off there. And it's just like, any movies apart from Aliens. That's the one I was saying to you before the show. I was finding it hard to pick my number 1 and 2 between Aliens and Predator because they're so fucking quotable. But like, that's our top 5s. Like, so Noel, what's your honorable mention, motherfucker, and we get the fuck out of here?
My honorable mention is something that annoys me and is a bit general, and I'm going to tell you why. Is that my number 2 was I'm Walking Here.
Yeah.
Now, every film, I think Miss Congeniality and Spider-Man, the middle Spider-Man, what's his face, that isn't Holland?
Andrew Garfield.
Garfield. They took the I'm walking here thing, and she was like, I'm pirouetting here.
Yeah.
And then there's like, and then he was like, I'm swinging here. And I thought that joke was a little bit funny at first. But now that I'm approaching middle age, I've seen it so many times that, again, it's like Spider-Man is flying down through the streets, through taxis, and a car almost hits him, and he goes, "Hey, I'm swinging here," and I'm just thinking like, no, you're like, I get it, one or two, I
It's
get
like
it. It's a
anorexic
reference.
cow
It's a
that's being
tip of the
milked to
cap.
death.
But you're absolutely right. That's a great reference. And I just remember and they weren't the last one. I was even trying to think. Again, I didn't want to Google anything for this list. For some reason, the puritanical in me said that, no, don't do that. What annoys you? What line annoys you? And that's the one that popped into my head. And I remember just thinking, because it was such a great line, and I get it. And it's like, again, Miss Congeniality. She's like, walking with a book on her head or something like that. And then she's like, "Hey, I'm pirouetting here. I'm doing whatever here."
Oh, that's Princess Diaries, is it?
Oh, I don't even know at this point.
I've never seen it.
But that's what I mean. They always try to take that bullet, but they always try to take the I'm walking here. So now I'm running here, I'm jogging here, I'm jumping here, I'm falling here, I'm swinging here, and I was like, yeah, we get it. My Midnight Cowboys was a film in 1969, and this line happened, and it's iconic, and now you're like referencing it, but obviously the thing you're doing is slightly like goofy. So that pissed me off. It was bastard. Look, mine is a line that I love bastardized. I know
that's your honorable mention. Did you do it? Dishonorable mention?
This is a dishonorable mention.
No, it's all positive. We only do dishonorable mention on negative lists.
Oh,
this fucking guy. So
okay,
I'll give you my honorable mention. Will I? We just
then I'll zero around. Go ahead.
All right, my honorable mention. Like, you hungry, dude?
Always.
You hungry right now? Like, would you like some sweet?
Yeah, I wouldn't actually.
Would you like some sweet? Would you like some sexual chocolate? Yeah, my honorable mention is fucking Eddie Murphy playing like 17 roles, and that's Coming to America. It was like,
Coming to America.
Yeah, man, I fucking love that movie. The royal penis is clean, Your Highness.
What an iconic movie! What an iconic actor! You're absolutely right. Oh God, like, you forget, like, he's that guy that kind of reached the apex. He wanted to be Richard Pryor, but he managed to do it without just being Richard Pryor. He managed to carve out his own way, so much so that he starred in films with Richard Pryor.
Yeah,
just absolutely iconic, absolutely spectacular, a hugely entertaining man. Absolutely iconic. If I had to inverse and actually just say like an honorable mention, I suppose I'd go simple.
Yeah,
and I would say something like, I was about to say, "Come with me if you want to live," but I would say just this simple, "I'll be back." Yeah, I remember from the
Terminator
first
1.
Terminator.
Yeah,
"I'll be back," and then he comes in through the car, just spectacular. Just like, I love it, because I love when in my head. Again, Michael Biehn, I was fortunate enough to speak to him, and he'd been in so many of these iconic films, and I remember just kind of talking to him about it, and it was that that, like, he goes, "Right, so you're not going to let me access Sarah Connor." So in his computer brain, he's like, "Well, just break in."
Yeah,
and he's like, "I'll be back," and he comes in and he kills everyone.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, so if I can't get to her, I'll just kill everyone. That's an equally viable option, because there's no emotional attachment. I'll just do that. It's the same.
Yeah, even T2, man, Hasta la Vista, baby. Like, you know what I mean? Like RoboCop. I'm surprised that they're making a Dead or Alive or Come With Me.
Oh my God, it's great. I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah,
man, there's a lot of one-liners, man.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man's it's fucking. Man, I think our list will bear scrutiny. I think they're two fucking solid lists. Like, mine's probably slightly better than yours. No biggie, that's not your fault. Better taste.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Considering I put this list together today, no biggie. Whatever. It's who I am. Better at the job. But let's get over it. Let's move past it. We've done ranking each other off. We ranked ourselves off. We get the fuck out here, dude, because I'm tired from all this rankage.
Yeah, I have to eat some food.
Yeah, cool, motherfucker. All right, folks. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, John Tui.
And we are a pair of rankers. And I hope you enjoyed all the rankitude. And that was best one-liners. See you next time, motherfuckers. Peace.
Peach.